Hello, everyone. How's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and I'd like to do a complete beginner's guide to No Man's Sky, shall we? It's 2023. This game's been out for a long time, and it's gone through many iterations. If I look at the patch notes, you can see that Interceptor is the latest update for this game, but it receives many, many updates. I'm a person who started playing No Man's Sky on the PS4 at launch, and I've seen it go through so many changes over the years, and now I'm playing here on the PS5, and I thought, why not create a guide for people who have either never played No Man's Sky, or people who maybe have played it a little bit, but several patches have come out since then, or people who just got the game, people who may be interested in this game, or people who already own it, but they're not quite sure what this game is all about. So what we're going to do in this guide is start up a brand new file. And I'm going to explain to you the controls, the UI, how to play, tips and tricks, things that you should be doing early in the game to help yourself out. But that being said, this is not going to be a prescriptive guide about min-maxing, the fastest way to beat the game, the best possible ship that you should be getting, the easiest quests, the best way to make money, or anything like that. Instead, I'm just going to show you the basics of the game and give you the fundamentals so that you can enjoy No Man's Sky on your own terms, because this really is a sandbox game. Do you want to just stay on the first planet forever and explore it before you even take off? Do you want to be bouncing around planet to planet? Do you want to be a fighter? Do you want to be trading goods and traveling across distances with your fleet? Do you want to be just doing exploration and trying to chart all of the flora and fauna? Whatever you want to do, this game allows you to do it. And once you get the basics down and can get your feet in the game and have some upgrades, you're really going to be able to enjoy this game, because honestly, this is one of the greatest space games out there. It gives you so many opportunities, and it's gone through such transformation that it's really a triumph in gaming at this point. So let's fire up a new game. So once you start your new game, selecting it, you get to say, do you want to play normal, relaxed, creative, survival? Do you want to customize your game? Do you want to do community-based content? Here's what I'm going to recommend and what we're going to do for the guide. We're going to do just normal mode so you can see the game, the way that it was originally intended and released. However, if you're a person who, wants a more laid-back experience, you can go relaxed. And if you don't want any game experience and just want unlimited everything, you can go creative. If you want to play really hard, you can go survival, where everything is more dangerous, you have a smaller inventory, everything costs more, and, you can go permadeath and all sorts of things. But let's just go normal to get into the game in the way I feel it was intended to be played. So now the game is going to be looking for our starting planet, starting system, and loading. And this is one of the amazing achievements of the game, at least on PS5, and as they've iterated it, everything loads so much faster than it once did. This is a nearly infinite game with even randomly generated music in some senses. So once the game is done loading your planet and system, you're ready to begin initialization, and you hold the square button down.
Commencing Atlas system suit initialization.
The AI talks to us, and we can look around.
Life support systems activated. Shield kinetic system online. Aerial propulsion jetpack online. multi-tool and mining laser attachment operational. User initialization sequence complete.
All right, we're on world Hyper V11, and it is a noxious planet. It is indeed. So if you look at the screen, you can see that this world is
Toxic protection.
hostile. It's toxic, and our toxic protection is falling. So the game is telling us with a tutorial that pops up in the right panel, it says environment status hostile, our hazard protection is falling, and you can see our hazard protection in the lower left. It's this flashing red and green bar with the kind of like radioactive symbol on it. And if that falls, then we're in bad shape. So we need to scan to locate survival resources. So we can use our scanner, which is the kind of like blue eyeball looking robot that's sticking out from our backpack, by pushing L3 in like this. But in our crash, the scanner has been damaged. So the scanner is our personal surface radar. It releases a high energy pulse that reveals any critical survival resources in the immediate area. But it's been damaged, and so we need to fix it by gathering ferrite dust. We have 0, we need 75. So I'm going to push circle to return, and it's telling us in the right panel to gather ferrite dust for repairs. And this is kind of the quest objectives. You can just push circle to close this out. So in order to get ferrite dust, it tells us in the bottom right, we can extract ferrite dust by shooting small rocks using R2 or the right trigger to fire our multi-tools mining beam. And all we want to do is fire at things that look like rocks. You can see if I aim my reticule in the center of the screen, there's a little white dot. All I have to do is just aim that at something, and it'll tell me a prediction of like, what resources we will gather from this with 100% accuracy is that prediction. We don't know what it is, we can't scan it, but if I hold R2, you see I blast that with my mining laser. And you'll see little bits of the resource kind of collecting and zooming in, vacuuming up to my character. That means we're gathering it. So this is how we mine stuff, and if I hold R2, you can see in the upper right, it appears mining beam 48%. That's how much energy this thing has left. I'm just going to keep shooting rocks, and it tells you how much you're gathering. You can see the symbol ferrite dust FE, and we've gathered 9. We have 25 of the 75 that we need. I'm moving around my person in the spacesuit with the left stick, using the right stick for the camera, and I'm just blasting away with R2. Now these are plants. Plants generally will give you carbon, and they take on all different shapes and sizes here in No Man's Sky because we're on alien worlds, alien to us anyway. And I'm just going to keep shooting rocks. Anything that I point at, either with my aiming reticule or the larger mining reticule, that tells me it's going to give me ferrite dust, I'm going to blast it. I can't analyze anything, of course. We're just going to keep blasting until we get enough that we need. And now we have enough to repair, so I'm going to push the center button on the PlayStation 5 controller, and I'm going to go ahead and go up here into, you can see on these tabs, we're on our multi-tool. This is kind of like the inventory of augments and modifications and things on our multi-tool, which is our amazing mining / fighting device. And if I click on the scanner, which is flashing in red, by pushing X on it, it opens up a projection of the scanner, and this will show you like all the damaged parts. Now, the more complex and damaged something is, it might have multiple systems that are damaged. This only has this one subcomponent that's damaged, so I could just kind of click on this to repair it. It says I need 75 ferrite dust, and I have it. So I click right away, and the scanner has been repaired. So now I can actually push L3, as the quest tells me, to locate sodium. And you could see as I scan, the world will show me there's hydrogen, oxygen, sodium in different colors. Hydrogen blue, sodium yellow, oxygen red. And I'm going to run towards the sodium. Now this is going to give me sodium, but it's sodium nitride crystals, and I can't actually gather this. I'm going to click the R3 stick rather in to sprint, And I need, as you can see, it says I need an advanced mining laser to mine this. So I can't get this yet. I don't have the technology. I can't even get these smaller nodules, but I can push L3 again to scan. And here's some over here. Now, if you aim your reticule right at the place where it says sodium-rich plant, hey, there's an animal walking, you can see that it tells you how far away it is in units or U, give you a sense of how far away you are. And here it is right here. I'm going to harvest this immediately. I'm going to go into push the center button. It's going to my exosuit, and you can see here's my hazard protection. It's at 8%. I need to click on this, and then I can click on sodium. I pick up the sodium, and I'm just going to put it right back onto the hazard protection. And now we've charged it up to about 50%. And so now we can actually take a moment and discuss the game. So it's saying there's an automated distress signal that's been located, and it says in the upper left, objective updated, exosuit initialization in progress, and we need to go to the marked area. This is a quest marker for the signal source. Now, before I do that, I can actually talk to you about things. That little part of the game, when you're playing on normal, is very difficult because you need to get resources immediately, and you don't really have time to dilly-dally. Now, though, I could talk to you about how to navigate, how to get around, and what we see. Right now, there is a buried technology module that we can actually see on the surface, and let's talk about, this was kind of a glitch. It should be buried under the ground, but I can just gather this, so I will. I'll hold square. And we got some salvage data, which is fantastic. Here's some supply crates that I can mess with, and you just go next to these and hold down the square button to search, and what did we find? Well, that was going to heal us, but we're at full health. And what's in this container? Inside this large container, we can't get in because it's all rusted up. The locking mechanism is all rusted up. So it says remove damaged components and scrap to open. So all you have to do is just move your mouse cursor or your cursor over here with the left stick and just push X to pick this up. You can either put it in your backpack by either pushing triangle or just moving this square resource icon over the exosuit until it highlights and then push X, or we can just get rid of it if I just want to drop it on the ground. And here we go. I did not actually get it on the ground because if you push X to quick transfer, all you could do is transfer it. The way you get rid of this, which is what I want to show you, is you have to push R3 to discard. So I'm going to push R3 and you have to hold it and discard it. I don't really want rusted metal right now. We got some condensed carbon in there, which is great. Because if I push the middle mouse button, or the middle controller button, rather, the large one, you can go into the exosuit, and this is your inventory. Here's all of the slots that I can fill up with cargo. Our backpack is pretty large. They expanded it recently with one of the updates. So we can carry a good amount, but not infinite. So we need to be more selective of what we have. What we have right now is some salvage data. We have some condensed carbon, which we can use to recharge some of our equipment. And we have some ferrite dust for crafting or other things. So like I said, at the beginning of the game, you're really struggling to survive on the planet that you're spawned onto because it's got a hostile environment. Yours might not be toxic. It might be, too hot. It might have some other problem with it that you need to manage with your environmental protection. And what you do normally to do that is just look for the yellow plants. You can actually see them dotting the landscape over there. Any of those yellow glows, they're beyond the range of my scanner, so they don't show up right now. But those are sodium plants, so you can just know to look for them. These right there, these blue crystals, these are dihydrogen. I can just blast these with my mining laser to pick these up if I want some dihydrogen, which we'll need. So this is fine to just gather this. But you can see our toxic protection is falling again. Now here's some critters Most of the time, especially on your starter world, these animals that you see will be non-hostile. And so you can just kind of walk around them. They might run away. They might just be indifferent. But we'll worry about them in a moment. I got some sodium, and there's another yellow plant. You see it over there. I'm going to go get to that. Now, let me talk to you about some movement. If I push the right stick in, you can see I start sprinting. I'm going really fast. And in the bottom right, you'll see a sprint icon. And as that depletes, if it gets all the way to 0, it'll turn red, meaning like I can't run anymore, and I won't be able to sprint until it fully recharges. I'm going to pick up some more sodium. And this is the quest marker over here. But check this out. I'm going to push down on the directional pad to open up some shortcuts for how to recharge equipment. And if I click push X on recharge equipment, it will default to like what you really need to be recharging. And right now it's the hazard protection. I push X again, and it gives you an option. Do you want to use sodium? Do you want to use sodium nitrate? Do you want to use an ion battery? I have a bunch of sodium. Let me use that. And I use it, and I just got 100% recharge on my environmental protection. Now, you can see the bar still going down because this is a very toxic world. In the lower left, let's talk about what we see on the heads-up display. There's a green bar that'll be just color-coded based on the environment hazard, and it starts to go down. The fuller it is, the more resistant you are, the more oomph your environmental protection system has to protect you. If that bar runs out, the bar below it, which is your life support, will start to dwindle down. That is like governing your ability to power the suit, your ability to filter the air that you're breathing so you can have some oxygen. And if that goes down to 0, then you are dead. So we definitely don't want that to happen. And the best way we can survive right now is by gathering some oxygen to recharge our life support and some sodium to recharge our life support system. So there's an oxygen plant, there's some sodium, here's some more sodium, but let's just head over here and let me continue talking about some of the controls for the game. Additionally, as I'm sprinting, you can push X to activate your jetpack. If you just tap it, you just kind of do a little jump, but you can hold it and you can fly. It is a jetpack, but it has limited thruster capabilities right now. I'm just gathering all of this sodium-rich plant, so I have plenty of backup recharge. You can see in the bottom right, a backpack icon appeared indicating the level of fullness of my inventory. We just looked at it right here. Items stack pretty incredibly in this game, so it's more about, well, most items do anyway, I should say. It's more about how many different slots you have for different types of items, because there's no weight. Nothing there. You don't have to worry about weight. You just have to worry about having enough slots to carry everything. And some of these elements and resources, I believe they go into the thousands. So you don't have to. They've changed this over time. So as a newer player, the stack size always blows my mind. When I say newer player, I mean newer player to these recent updates. I was playing at launch when the stacks were not this forgiving. They've really, really expanded your inventory over time in this game, which is great. So I have this jetpack that I can use to jump, climb terrain, stuff like that, and I can sprint to get around faster. And I'm just going to kind of head over here. You can see I'm 381 units away from the signal source. I'm going to collect some more sodium because it's great. And I'm going to scan using L3. Now you see on the bottom right, my scanner is filling back up. That kind of crosshairs, that's the scanner icon. You can't scan constantly. It takes a little while for it to recharge, but the icons stay persistent on the screen for quite some time. So here's an oxygen-rich plant, which is red. And you'll be able to see these now on the environment because they kind of glow red. So just visibly, you'll see an oxygen-rich plant. You just get close to it, hold square, and you gather this. And we've got a lot of oxygen. Now, if I push options, when the game tells me, in the upper left, as you do things, the game will tell you, hey, there's more information you can read about what you're doing. And as I gather oxygen, if I push options or start, while that is displayed, it will just take me to the catalog and guide section on life support and explain to me what life support is and how to recharge this system and why it's important. And this is also worth mentioning because if you come into the catalog and guides section, you can see all sorts of useful stuff in the survival basics part of the catalog and guide, where there's like getting around, there's making discoveries, and these are super, super useful to a new player, just understanding how to get started and what you should be doing. So if you want some further information, you can jump in here. You can go between these categories on this screen by using R1 and L1. This log panel is showing us our quest. Currently, we're doing the Awakenings quest right now. We tested and repaired our multi-tool system, and now we're investigating our surroundings and looking for the source of the signal. And we're trying to find our damaged starship. I can go to options to adjust portions of the game that I want, and discoveries tells you everything about the world that you're on and what you've found in this game. In No Man's Sky, a lot of what you're doing is being an explorer and charting and documenting the different types of plants, the different types of animals, the different types of minerals that you find, as well as any waypoints of interest. And this is information about Hyper V11 that we found. It's toxic clouds, weather, there's low sentinel security, the flora is scarce, the fauna is average, and here are the resources overall that we can gather here. This isn't an exhaustive list. This is just a list of the main valuable resources, and there's some other information about the economy, the conflict level, and who is the dominant life form in this system. Also on this screen, you can see how much units I have, which is like money, nanites, which is a currency that you use a lot of the time to upgrade your equipment, and quicksilver, which is yet another form of currency that we'll talk about later. I'm going to push circle to get out of this, and I can push circle to go further out and close this screen, but you can push options to get back to this at any time and check through your discoveries, the catalog, the log, and the game options. I'm going to push circle to close this out, or you can push options just to get out even faster than that. Okay, now another thing I want to talk to you about, we've talked about the jetpack, about sprinting. I am playing in third person over-the-shoulder mode right now, but if you want to play this game in first person, which is how the perspective the game was in when it came out, the only one available, you can push down, and this pushing down on the directional pad opens up this little shortcut thing where you can get to some selections in the game a lot faster. So if I go to this and go to the gear for utilities and push X, I can click on toggle camera view to go to first person. I can then go back and I can click on utilities, push X using left and right on the directional pad to choose different options, toggle the view back to third person, which is where I will stay. Now right here, we have a deuterium rich plant. If I harvest this, it gives my jetpack a little bit of extra power, so I can use this to like fly further than normal for just a moment. And here's some cool stuff, but I can't scan anything right now in detail because my systems aren't fully operational. I'm just going to keep heading over here towards the quest marker, and sometimes you'll find stuff like this, which are just little crates of supplies that have been left here by somebody. Sometimes they're empty, sometimes they aren't. The green chest we see right here, let's go ahead and just drop this rusted metal. You can sell that for a little bit of money if you want to carry it. I'm not interested right now, but you can do what you want. Now this cylindrical canister we cannot open until we have an Atlas Pass V1, which we do not have. I'm going to keep going, and hey, look at that. There's a starship right there. Now, it's worth explaining. You can push down on the directional pad and go through to some different options of things that you have. There's emotes, there's photo mode, you can recharge any of your equipment, you can summon your vehicles, you can do creature stuff, and you can do utility things like turn on your torch or toggle the camera view, change your multi-tool, change the music if you have the library thing selected for creating music, and you could change your secondary weapon as an example. Now, something that's really cool that you can also do is if you push R2 is mine, okay? L2 is analysis visor, but we don't have it right now installed. L1 doesn't do anything right now, but R1 does like this melee attack where you'll see my character kind of like reach forward and just punch the air with our weapon. Now, if I run by clicking in the right stick and then I melee and I immediately, after I melee, push X to start my jetpack, I do a special move in this game, which is kind of like flying, and it's the best way to get around on foot. So you are sprinting, you melee, and then you immediately, after you melee, hold your jetpack. The way I like to think of it when you're doing it is you're running, and then you just kind of roll your fingers R1 to your thumb for the X button to do it. It takes a little bit of practice to get it going, but you'll notice if I'm running and then I R1 and then I push X, if I start flying up, I didn't do it right. But if you see your character lean forward with their shoulder like that and fly really quickly, that means you've done it correctly and you're going super fast and you can get around easily. Now let's just push down and recharge our equipment. I'm going to push X. I'm going to go to my hazard protection, push X, and just use sodium. Now it's telling me it's going to take 19 of the 81 sodium I have to recharge, and we're fully recharged. I'm going to push down again. I'm going to recharge some equipment. My mining beam is at 31%. I can actually recharge that with the condensed carbon that I've been getting from these chests, so I will. And now my mining beam is fully recharged. I'm going to go to recharge equipment, and I can even recharge my life support with the oxygen that we've gathered just to top off all of my stuff if I want. Now here's the quest item, which is this kind of, red 100-sided die rolling around in there. And it says iteration number, a big long number. I'm going to hold square. Scenario, iteration pound 231187661T deleted. Boundary separation failure likely. Vessel 16 emptied, cause sentinel intervention, deliberate transfer. Analysis, fresh iteration generated, anomaly containment prepared. So you can either broadcast this or leave it. I'm just going to broadcast it. Broadcast received, traveler anomaly detected. Anomaly is compliant, position logged, system integrity scan initialized. So now this is doing stuff. The red glowing circle 100-sided die has disappeared. And now the quest in the bottom right tells us to investigate the crashed ship. So there's a lot of supplies here. There's this, this kind of crashed, this damaged machinery that has launched out. We can mess with that. But first, let's go mess with the ship, which is on fire actively, as you can see. And it's the radiant pillar. I'm going to hold square. And we can get inside. And once we're inside, the Starship auto diagnostics boot up. It says iteration pound 2394 ... online. Atlas connection intermittent. Now this is all story stuff. This is all plot. There is a story. There is a directive in this game. And I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm just going to read it as this lists it out here. But I do recommend, at least in the beginning of the game, even if you plan to just explore on your own terms, to follow the story for a bit so you can get some more tools at your fingertips so that you are able to do more in the game. Launch thrusters offline, so the ship's not working. Pulse engine offline. This is sad. I find myself alone on a strange world, unequipped and in danger. I have no memory of how I got here, no sense of a before. But this ship at least seems to recognize me. The controls react to my touch, or at least to that of my exosuit. I'm not dead yet, and this ship is a lifeline out to the stars. So we could read the log, we connect our exosuit. Let's first read the log. It says log pound 4925A, unavailable, substituting data. Exosuit, connected. Suggestion, pilot should perform maintenance, select desired repair path. Let's repair the ship systems. It's the only one. Self-guided repair protocols initiated. So it's telling us now that the pulse engine has been critically damaged and we need to repair it. And in order to repair the pulse engine, which provides space and atmospheric flight propulsion so we can move around, we need to get metal plating and a hermetic seal. So fine. I'm inside the ship, and I can push square to leave the ship. And bounce out. And it says right here in the quest panel, repair the pulse engine by getting metal plating. So how do we get metal plating? Well, push circle to close that up. And it says right now we need to get 50 ferrite dust to make a metal plate, so let's gather that. So to get ferrite dust, remember, anything that looks like a rock, you want to gather it. However, lots of the stuff in No Man's Sky is just decorative. It has no resource value. Like these plants, these little rocks, these aren't doing anything for me. And yet, let's look around at some of these containers and see if we can find anything good. So these red boxes, I'm just going to go by them and search, and we found some sodium, a little bit anyway. And here's a little sodium nitrate, great. I'm going to search this, I'm going to dump the rusted metal. And we got more stuff, more supplies there. There's not much here. What's the damaged machinery got going on? It's got some living slime. We could sell this for 1,860 units, but I don't want it. I'm just going to dump it on the ground and get a bunch of nanites from this. Now, the rust and the slime, again, you can collect that if you want. It's probably wiser to collect it. It does have some use. I just am so used to having a small inventory that I generally don't use it. Now, this is part of the game that's just so cool. Look at this. What have we found in here? It's a small cave. I can just wander in here and check out what's going on. My torch or my flashlight is on. And let's just see what this is. This actually is going to give me cobalt. So I can mine this if I want and get some cobalt. Now with my mining beam, I want you to look in the upper right and notice that as I mine, there's a white beam that's filling up. That is the heat level of our multi-tool. If that fills up, the multi-tool will kind of overheat. It will have a reaction, and we'll have to wait a bit to use it again. Instead, if you just let go of R2 and let it cool down, and the bar to go back down to 0, then you can use it again without having to wait as long. Now, this big thing does give ferrite dust, so let's just go ahead and mine it up. And there we go. We bashed it, and we got a big surge of resources. Usually when you break an item completely, you'll get the entirety of its resource gain or yield collected. Now it's telling me to craft. Let's look at this. It says crafting. Crafting advanced products is a great way to earn money. Mine metals from resource deposits found using the analysis visor, which we don't have yet. So how do we craft? Well, push the center large button to go to your cargo, and then what it's telling you, do you see this flashing section? Right now it's telling me to use my Starship. I'm going to craft inside my exosuit instead. You can change these panels by using R1 and L1. This is the exosuit. Up here at the top where it says technology, these are all the different modules and things that I have equipped on here. You can see I have a jetpack, my hazard protection, and my life support. And you can sort and just highlight raw materials. You can highlight high value items, consumables, or installable tech, or just all items, which is what I had. And down here where it says cargo, well, that's my cargo. I'm going to go ahead and push. Once you actually put your cursor over an empty square, it's telling you that you can modify. You could transfer stuff here with triangle, or you could push X to craft a product. And it shows you a list of things that you can craft. I'm going to push X, and then it goes to the craft a product screen. And again, just how we were looking at sorting, you can sort by components, consumables, trade items, curiosities, or all items. What we can actually make with the ingredients that we have are highlighted. So if it's not something I can make like this Starship fuel. It'll be grayed out. The metal plating, if I mouse over this, it says crafted technology component, takes 50 ferrite dust. It's a lightweight metal product heavily used in the manufacture of Starship parts and deployable technology, a mainstay of the construction industries of all known primary species. So you'll need tons and tons of these. Right now, I'm just going to build one, but you can use L1 and R1 to build more than one if you have enough ingredients to do so. I only have 50 ferrite dust, but if I had 100, I could make 2 at once. I'm just going to make 1. You can see right here, these stack to 20. A lot of these things will stack in huge stacks, thousands. These only stack to 20, but we did make the metal plating. So I'm going to push circle to close this, and it's telling me to repair the pulse engine. So I'm going to run back to the ship, and I'm going to just Superman over here and go inside the ship. And it says Starship restoration sequence initialized. Patch metal plating onto the pulse engine. And I'm reading in the bottom right corner. In the Starship inventory that we get to using the big button, find the pulse engine and then repair with X. So right here, again, you can click on the pulse engine and you can see it needs 2 things. It needs a hermetic seal and it needs a metal plating. I don't have the seal yet. Let's do this. And it's been repaired. So now we're good on one part, and it says iteration functional, Starship critically damaged, vital ingredients missing, unable to synthesize required components. Pulse engine requires hermetic seal. So you can request assistance or leave. I'm going to just request assistance, and it says recommendation. Iteration comparison reveals hermetic seal nearby. Salvage planetary chart from distress beacon cache. So they're telling us that there is a hermetic seal nearby. So we need to go get it. I'm going to push circle to close the panel. And it says search the distress beacon cache for supplies. So I'm going to get out of the ship. And let's go over here to the place where that red ball was and just search in here. Hold square. And the ball is back. I peer inside the beacon's housing. As well as its distress broadcast unit, it contains a planetary chart. Take that chart. Got it. And so now we have the planetary chart, and we can open the inventory to view data, and it's telling us that it wants us to use this map. So it'll help us plot a route and pin a location to our exosuit inventory. And this is a map, so we're just going to push square, or hold square on this, and it's now searching the planet. You can see that radius of blue going out, and it's finding something for us that we need, and it's marked there on the quest with that red diamond icon, and its decoded coordinates. They're 856 units away, so we've got to get there. All right, let's do it. We've discovered a new area, which the game is telling us, and areas discovered are ways for us to earn units, nanites, such. So I'm going to actually just run over here, and I'm going to jump up to this higher section with my jetpack, and I'm going to start running toward what you can see as the quest marker. Now, what I like to do... Oh, if you fall from too great a distance, you will hurt yourself. Well, it looks like we've already opened the... No, maybe we haven't. Let's search it. Health at maximum. What's in here? Oh, no, we didn't open these. Condensed carbon. All right. Now, just for argument's sake, I will go ahead and just quick transfer this. I'll push X, and then I'm just going to push triangle to put it in my exosuit. That number 16 that you saw on my exosuit right there, that's telling me I have 16 slots available in my exosuit. So I can't carry a ton. If I need more space, I'll just go ahead and drop that metal. Look at that awesome planet with a ring over there that we can just see with the naked eye. Ooh, okay. So there's a toxic rainstorm coming. This is terrible. This is going to tax our environment or hazard protection incredibly, as this toxic rainstorm happens, you'll see that we'll be depleting our resources very, very rapidly. So we have some options. We could go back in the cave that we found and hide until the storm passes. It says charge your hazard protection with sodium. Use the scanner to locate sodium. Warning, incoming storm in the bottom right corner. Luckily, we've been gathering a lot of sodium, so we're pretty good. Here's the storm. You can see the sides of the screen are misted. I'm going to go ahead and just collect this condensed carbon, by the way. This is fantastic for recharging our mining tool. And carbon is used for a lot of things at the moment. So you see in the bottom left, the toxicity is gone up to 96.7. It's flashing red. And the storm, look at my hazard protection. You see how it's 3 negative arrows, and it's just rapidly falling. And the only thing we can do if we're stuck out in this storm is to go push the down on directional pad, recharge equipment, recharge this, and just load in the sodium and just try to wait this out. Now, the other option we have is to just go back to our ship and just get into cockpit and sit in there. We'd be safe in there until the storm passes, but we're going to be fine. Just going to kind of go over here. Now, here's what I like to do to move around fast if I'm on foot. You have a sprint meter, so I'm going to push R3 in. I'm going to run, and you can see my sprint meter declining. As my sprint starts to go down, and if it's about to go out, right before my sprint wears off, what I'm going to do, all right, you can watch me gaining speed, going. Right before it wears off, let's go now. I'm going to just push R1 and Superman as long as I can. Those use different recharges. One is the jetpack, one is the sprint. So you can kind of use both of those. Ouch, we got hit by that plant. Now in the upper left, you actually see our health. That white bar in the upper left is our health, and those plus symbols are kind of like the units of our health. Now, we can run, and I am going to run, and I'm going to go inside this little shelter right here. Go right up the ramp, go inside, and in this building, you see how it says toxicity levels stabilizing? Because we're sheltered from the storm in this little room. So the storm is clearing, and we could just chill in here and let our hazard protection top off. Perfect. So some life form was living here, sitting here, why I can sit here myself or spin the chair around and just, take some time chilling, relaxing on this chair as we wait for the storm to pass, but it's gone. So let's just get up, push square, stand up, and let's hold square down and check out the encrypted navigation data. And then this hollow archive, I'm going to look at this, and it says accessing archive, 6 out of 7 logs corrupted. Entry pound 4924A follows no one making this recording in case leaving behind in the fabricator might be of some use. Visor damaged. Can't find ship. So we can leave or recover supplies. We want to get the supplies. The log finishes and the machine whirs to life, spitting out supplies. I have the hermetic seal I need to repair my ship. Whoever it was that led me here, whoever left this message, perhaps they found themselves in the same situation as I do now. We did it. So now we got the hermetic seal. We didn't even have to craft it. We just get it, and we need to take it back to our ship. But before we go back there, let's check the rest of these buildings. Look at this little base. What is this? There's some damaged machinery. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. I will just pick up the goop, put it in my exosuit, push triangle to do that. And what's here? Well, we get a bunch of nanites. Nanites are fantastic for upgrading our stuff. And, oh, look, there's a stock transfer. Hold square, get some money. And, hey, we just transferred 1,055 credits to our bank account. How about that? And let's look around here. Okay, they've got a satellite dish. And I think I'm pretty good. I don't really want to check out too much more of this. You could go up, and stand on this if you wanted to, you can just kind of fly and climb up to the top of this. Whoa. And then wait for your jetpack to recharge if you were really excited and, stand up here and just scout the environment, look around at this planet, look at the amazing sky, the clouds overhead. There's a cave over there too, but what we want to do is, of course, get back to our ship and put in this hermetic seal. So where's our ship? Well, that's a good point. And it says use the analysis visor L2 to locate your starship. Well, analysis visor requires installation. We don't have it yet. The analysis visor is a planetary exploration device that locates and highlights nearby points of interest. It can also be used to analyze flora, fauna, and minerals. Analysis results in commercially valuable data as well as revealing additional resources. So this means that you can make money on everything that you scan, and if something can yield more than one resource beyond its primary resource, once you scan it, now you will gather those resources in addition to its primary resource. But we need carbon nanotubes, so I push circle to go to the screen and it says begin installation. So we need to craft carbon nanotubes, so I'm just going to push the center button. I'm going to go to the exosuit. I'm going to select an open slot, and I'm going to say, hey, I want to make carbon nanotubes, and in the crafting slot, you can see it's right here. It takes 50 carbon, and I have no carbon. So how do we get carbon? We find plants, and we blast them with the multi-tool. So all of these egg guys, these are plants. Just blow them away. Get the carbon. Try to get 50. Remember, these little mushrooms don't count. I'm not going to shoot that animal. I'm just going to let that thing do whatever it wants, really. And we now have enough carbon. I'm going to go into my inventory. Exosuit. Bam. Push X. We can craft carbon nanotubes. Now, I'm going to go over to my multi-tool. And I'm going to push X right here. And I want the analysis visor. Now that I have the nanotubes, I can install it. I could also install a personal force field and a bolt caster, which allows us to actually use our multi-tool as a better weapon than just the mining beam, which does damage things, but not very much. But right now, we're just going to go ahead and put in the analysis visor, push X. And you can see, hey, I need a carbon nanotube. All we have to do is select this and push X, and it puts it in. And we've got it, analysis visor installed. So I'm going to push options to return. And now I can use L2 to use my analysis visor. And I look like this. And anything that I can scan, hey, look at that. Look at that animal. You see how there's a red dot on it? Well, if I push the right stick in and the right stick in and I scan it with R2, I just scanned a new animal. So to scan things, you just hold L2, and then when you select something, you can see on the left of the screen it says unidentified plant. This is plant life. If I hold R2, I scan it, the progress bar fills up, and now I know it has a name that's been randomly generated. It's fully developed, it's many-limbed, has irresistible seeds, and there's also some great information I can get from the analysis visor. If I hold L2 again, you see how in the bottom right it says critical exposure in 4 minutes. Now it's 3 minutes and some seconds. That's telling you how long in real life time it will be before your environmental protection runs out and you start taking damage to your life support. Now, what you want to do is just any animal that you haven't scanned has a red dot on it. So just look at the animal and scan it. Now I'm scanning these rocks right now, but here we go. Got the animal scanned. Once you've scanned it, it'll have a paw over it. Green paw means friendly, neutral, not going to attack you. Red paw means aggressive, hostile, will attack you. Let's scan this guy or gal. Got it. Perfect. So I love scanning everything. But also, what you'll notice when you have the analysis visor is that your starship indeed appears as an icon on the map, as do lots of things that are around us. Sodium hydrogen. Now all this stuff is just here. It just displays on the map. And not only that, okay, but you're going to see that there are buildings, there are specialty resources, there are knowledge stones, things that appear in blue diamonds that we can also go see. If you want to just figure out, for example, like this copper deposit, if I wanted to just mark that on the map, I could hold square and tag that. And then you could see there is permanently a copper deposit that I've tagged right there for me to go to so that I can easily get around. Now, I don't want that tagged. I'm just going to go ahead and remove the tag.
Toxic protection falling.
Target sweep. We don't need that. Okay. We need to analyze objects for rewards, and now they want us to find the Starship. Actually, I said you could push square to remove the tag. I don't think you can do it as easily as that. You might have to get to the location to get rid of it, or just mark something else, like our Starship. But that was just a custom marker. And here we go. I'm going to run. Let's get to our Starship. Now, you'll notice that I've scanned some things. Ouch, I hurt myself because I fell. You got to be careful sometimes when you're changing terrain, even if you're flying in the air. What I like to do, if it's possible, is to save just a little bit of your jetpack, so right when you're about to hit the ground, you can just give yourself a little burst so that you don't take some kind of critical falling damage. Now, these rocks, have I scanned it? If you haven't scanned it, you'll see in the left question marks. You scan it, you know what it is, and also it just visually will show up as green if you have scanned it. Whereas if you haven't scanned it, let's see if I can find something I haven't scanned. I've scanned most of this stuff. It'll be red, like this. So you could see, hey, I haven't scanned this rock. It's red. Scan it. Got it. And you see I'm making money, 200 units every time I scan something. So it's a great way to just make cash by scanning stuff. But moreover, if I push start and I go to discoveries, you'll notice that I've discovered 3 out of 6 fauna on this planet. That means 3 of the 6 different animal types I've discovered. And if you get all of them, all of the animal types, you get a big bonus of nanites, I believe. So it's really incentivizes you to scan stuff. You can make money, you can make nanites. It's fantastic. And it's just fun. And it gives you information that's useful about this. Now, look at this gristolite. Oh, we're taking toxic damage. We've got to recharge our hazard protection. Go. We're good. Let's recharge our life support. I was not paying attention. I was trying to talk about things in the game, and it almost cost us our lives. Now, you'll see that this mineral that we just looked at, we don't know what this is. Let's scan it. So this guy gives us pure ferrite and carbon, but we need the advanced mining laser. Now, this will give us ferrite dust and dihydrogen. So if I mine this, R2, you'll see I get some ferrite dust, and I have a chance of, there we go, we got 1 dihydrogen. Not very much. The secondary resource you don't get a lot of, but you'll get it. And you can't get that unless you've actually scanned the item first, which we did. All right, I'm going to run back to our ship. And here we go. Run, run, run. And Superman. Ouch. My legs, but to be honest, your health is pretty easy to repair. And the white bar will refill itself. After you stop taking damage, that will just kind of charge itself back up again. And now we can go into the ship, holding square to get inside. I'm going to push the middle button, and I'm going to go back to the pulse engine, push X. I'm going to click on the Hermetic seal and put it in there, and now the pulse engine has been repaired. So here's the ship. This is our ship. Now we have a Starship. It's got 100 tritium in the cargo space, It has a pulse engine with 50% power. It has damaged launch thrusters, and it has a rocket launcher, and it has a photon cannon. So I'm going to push circle to close this up, and it says launch thrusters critically damaged. So we need pure ferrite, and we need dihydrogen jelly. But in order to get pure ferrite, we need to create a portable refiner to process regular ferrite into pure ferrite. So I'm just going to push circle, and I'm going to push square to get out. To make dihydrogen jelly, we just need a bunch of dihydrogen, which we can gather. And it's telling us right here in the right panel that we can make the refiner to put it down and process our ferrite or whatever we want to process. I'm going to push circle to do that. But first they want us to make dihydrogen. So if I push L3, you'll find hydrogen around where the blue is. And how far is this? This one is 159. This is 106. And this is 119. So this one right here is actually the closest. So I'll see if I have enough jetpack to make it up to the top here. Yes, indeed. And I'm just going to run over here to this field of dihydrogen crystals and just start holding down my mining beam and just mining away, blasting these things into oblivion until I get enough, and I have enough now. And I'm going to go into my inventory. I'm going to go to an empty slot, push X, and now they want us to craft dihydrogen jelly. I've got enough. I'm just going to push X on that, and they want us to return to the Starship and put this in there before we make the portable refiner. No problem. By the way, I'm just going to gather a bunch of ferrite dust. I need it. There we go. Okay, I'm going to run. And jetpack off to not take damage. And we'll fly over here. Get inside. Access the inventory of the Starship. Go to the launch thrusters, just like we've been doing. Click on the damaged part. Put the dihydrogen jelly there. And now we need pure ferrite. So it says construct a portable refiner and gather ferrite dust. Those are the objectives. We need a little bit more ferrite, but we've got a pretty good amount. We know that we need more, but we can find it easily. We just look for some rocks. I'm going to fly over here. And look, animals we haven't scanned. Get them in. Bam. Now, all of these are done. We're at 4 out of 6. We got 1,600 credits just for scanning that dude. Oh, unidentified. Scan it up. Get some cash. And the secondary resource. Awesome. All right. So we have enough now to make the metal plate. So I'm going to go into my inventory. I'm going to select this, and I'll make a metal plating. Then it says construct a portable refiner. So we need some oxygen to do that. So let's kind of push L3 to scan around. Look for oxygen. There it is. O2, the red stuff. Let's just go ahead and fly over this chasm like so. Chasm, I should say. Okay. And I'm just going to push square right here to get the O2. Now we have enough to craft a portable refiner. So I'm going to go into my inventory, and I'm going to select a location. And, but in this case, we want to build a portable refiner, right? So we don't do it that way. It's not something you craft in your inventory. Use the build menu. So you push up on the directional pad. And these are the deployable technologies that we can build, and we can build a portable refiner. We just need a metal plating and some oxygen. Push X to select it, and it's telling us it wants us to put this down. And we can place this wherever we want. Now, I'm going to actually place it a little bit closer to the ship for now, but don't worry about where you place it because you can move this thing, pick it up, and move it wherever you want. I'm just going to put it right there. And here's all the instructions for building. You can cycle the part. You can build it with R2, which is what I will do. And we've built it. You can rotate it. You can move things around, change the color. But I'm just going to place it. And I'm going to hold square to use it. And the fuel is empty. So I'm going to put some carbon in here. In fact, I'm going to put condensed carbon. I only had to put in 27 to fill this up. Condensed carbon is just more potent than regular carbon. And right here, I'm going to put ferrite dust. 28 ferrite dust will output How much pure ferrite? Well, 28. There we go. We got 28. It's a 1-to-1 conversion rate, and I'm going to push circle, and now we are getting closer, but we actually didn't pick that up. I have to hold square, and you have to kind of go over the pure ferrite and then push X, and then say where you want to put it. You could put it in your exosuit, or we're close enough to the Starship to just put it in there, which is where I'll put it for now. But we need more ferrite dust, so let's go get some ferrite. I'm just going to fly all the way up here. I'm going to run, and we know that all of these rocks will give us ferrite, so let's break them. Rocks, let's go. Awesome. Got it. And now we just got a ton. Just going to gather this. Gather this. Whatever, gather all that. And I'm going to fly over here. And I'm going to go here. And I'm just going to hold square. And I'm going to go to this screen. And we're going to drop in ferrite dust like that. And I'm going to begin holding square. You can see this will take time, but this is really fast. Sometimes it takes a long time and you just leave. But if I actually leave the screen, it'll keep processing. And when it's done, you can just come hold square and check on it. Take this out. I'm going to put it in the Starship. And now we have enough. We're going to repair the launch thrusters of the ship. I'm going to get inside. And I'm going to push X. Push the middle button. Go to the launch thrusters. We already put the dihydrogen on there. Just need some pure ferrite, which we can pull from the ship's inventory and fix the ship. And now, this ship has 50 launch thruster and 50 pulse engine, which means the Starship is repaired. The launch systems are online. Let's exit the ship with square and collect our portable refiner because we want to go someplace. So you can pick it up with R3. It breaks up into the ingredients that you use to craft it. So you just pick it up and you're good to go. Oh wait, no, it broke up into a refiner. That's right. And what it left behind was all of the carbon that I put in there. And you don't lose that carbon that you added as fuel. You've still got it. Okay, look at the ships flying overhead. Interesting. And we got a bunch of oxygen, which is awesome. All systems functional, return to your ship. Now, before I do that, though, I'm going to push start and just show you something really quickly. On the Discoveries panel, I showed you how we had 4 out of 6 fauna. Well, just like with the planet itself, you can actually change the name of things if you want. And you can, for this animal that we saw right here, I just went into the fauna section, and you could see here's the animal, give some information on it. You can click this pencil to change the name of it, and then when you're happy, you can upload this discovery to earn nanite clusters. You can see how if we get all of them, we get a bonus of 1,500 nanites, and we get all of the credits when we discover them. So this is a great way, just being an explorer, making money, and getting nanites. So if I click on this pencil and I want to change this, I can change this to whatever I want. So I can just call it, incompetent tutorial beast. And R2 done. And you see it's called incompetent tutorial beast, and it automatically uploads the discovery once you rename it, and any other player that discovers that will see that name because I've already discovered it. They will scan it and identify it as what I have named it. So now they want us to get into our ship. We will by holding square, and all systems functional. I can push R2 now to take off with our ship. And how about that? We are up in the air. And it says all systems functional, seek answers among the stars, which means we can fly our ship up and out. So when you're flying your ship, you can push X to fire your weapon. You can hold R2 to fire up your thrusters. And you can hold square to land. You can hold R1 and L1 to roll your ship like so. And you can even hold circle to kick in some even faster propulsion if you like. So now we're going to go up into the stars and continue the quest, or you could just fly around and explore, doing what you like. The choice is yours. I do recommend following the quest, and that's what we're going to do in this guide series. Follow the quest at least for the beginning so we can explain a lot of what's going on in the game. But I think this is a great place to end this first tutorial episode. We've found our ship, repaired it, we've discussed the controls, how to scan, and we know a little bit about the game, but there's still so much more to learn. Like, look at that. What have we just discovered there, for example? There's so much to see. Everyone, I hope you found this first episode of our Complete Beginner's Guide to No Man's Sky to be helpful. If you have any questions about the game, please post those in the comments below. If you are a No Man's Sky veteran and you want to help somebody brand new who's never played the game or has very limited knowledge about the game get into the game and enjoy it more, and you'd like to leave some tips that are non-spoilery, I would really appreciate that. But if you could keep the tone as beginner-friendly as possible, that would be fantastic. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Take care.